Hey guys, so today we are talking about the free weight body dip and also the assisted dip machine. Right, so let's talk about the dip. What are we targeting? Well, the dip is actually a really good and prominent chest builder. I know a lot of people feel this through their tries and use it as a really good tricep exercise. However, we'll talk about when it comes to putting yourself into position, how potentially using this for a tricep exercise can lead to some shoulder issues, and how you can gain, actually by simply changing your angles, a lot more chest activation out of this exercise. So what we want to understand is that when we do a dip, our traditional, or what most people do when they do dips, is that they come down and they're in this position here. Now you can see with my shoulder in this position there how much tension, and you can feel how much tension is placed upon this anterior deltoid, which is the front delt just there, and it creates this stretch. Now this puts our shoulder in a very vulnerable position. So what we want to do when we are doing this particular exercise is we want to change our angle so that it puts our shoulder in a much more safer position, but we're still going to get a lot of arm or tricep activation out of this, whilst also getting a lot of chest activation out of this. So when we come up into our dip position, instead of going with our feet back and our head backwards here, I suppose the feet is very much, can be very much of a personal preference, but it's all about your angles. So you can have your feet back. I find it to put you in a bad position, and I would rather your feet come forward like so, because when you do this, what then happens is that it naturally starts to counterbalance us to come forward. And what we are aiming to do when we do a dip is to keep our head down and keep our body slightly forward, so that when we come down into this position here, we are not so jammed up and anteriorly loaded. We actually start loading our pec, and it'll save your shoulders over a long period of time. So I'll demonstrate what it is that I'm trying to get you to do. So when we come into our dip, we're going to keep our body up and suspended nice and tall. We're going to look down, and we're going to allow our chest to fall down in this position. We're not going to we're not going to get into thoracic extension when we're coming up with the chest. So we're up, our feet are forward, or you can have them back. I'd probably have them forward if I were you. Forward, looking down, and we're taking my chest towards the ground. My shoulder isn't half as loaded, and we're coming back up. And that there is all my chest and my arms in full activation working, rather than if I am in this position here and my head forward and I'm going down. You can see how much tension is through my neck, through my shoulders, and is loading them up like you wouldn't believe. So that there, team, is how I would go about making sure that when you do a free weighted chest dip, that we are doing it with our legs forward. Now, when it comes to our assisted dip machine, obviously your knees are positioned right in and under you. If possible, I would stick my knees forward and make sure that that doesn't, that you are still getting your body weight forward. So if we can, and you can see with this, we're going to drive our feet right up nice and tall and lean forward and come up, okay? And obviously the assisted dip machine will counterbalance your weight if you can't do your full body weight. So a really good machine for that. But I cannot stress enough that you need to be pushing your weight forward, making sure that you're coming forward, and again, you're going to get a really big chest pump out of it, get your triceps involved, and you're going to spare your shoulders. So that there, team, is how I would go about doing a body weight dip.